Chapter 14, The Weaponization of Virtue, Barack Obama and the Great Heist. The presidency of Barack Obama marked the Iron Grip's successful adaptation into a system of total control, where the language of virtue was weaponized to mask actions of profound exploitation. By utilizing the political momentum of hope and change, the network executed a consolidation of power and a financial transfer that left the American populace permanently indebted and diminished. This era was defined by the government's war on truth. Individuals like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange emerged as heroes deserving of our highest honors, risking everything to expose the vast, unconstitutional surveillance state maintained by the American government. Instead of addressing the criminal activities they revealed, the administration aggressively prosecuted the messengers. This crackdown on transparency forced genuine dissent underground, where it took the form of whistleblowers, conspiracy theorists, lunatics, satirists, and comedians. The state successfully weaponized virtue, convincing the public to fear the free exercise of their most basic civil liberties, especially the right to free speech, all in the name of national security. Obama's rise was secured within a deeply compromised framework. No one has been successfully elected in Illinois without the support of the mafia since the days of Al Capone, and his own ties to that political machine suggest that his ascent was secured through the traditional, embedded compromises necessary to advance in that environment, as documented in our chapter on William Clinton. His campaign was a masterclass in the weaponization of words, offering televised promises that were quickly and cynically reversed upon taking office. He promised to end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan within 30 days of taking office, a timeline that quickly became 60 days, and then was replaced entirely by a troop surge. Instead of bringing troops home, conflicts were intensified, ensuring that the Perpetual War Machine continued to generate profits for another 15 years. Another key promise was making healthcare affordable. The Affordable Care Act lowered the requirement for employers to offer health insurance from a typical 40 hours per week to 30 hours per week. This policy led to a massive, deliberate reduction in the hours of a significant percentage of the labor force, as employers slashed work schedules from 39 hours to 29 hours to avoid the mandate. Production quotas were not lowered, but raised in this time of cost-cutting and efficiency. This action immediately stripped benefits and pay from millions of workers, creating a vast underclass of the underemployed. On the fiscal front, Obama publicly suggested that trimming the federal budget by a mere 1% per year would solve the national debt problem in no time. Instead, his administration oversaw an unprecedented use of quantitative easing, the weaponized word for printing money, doubling the national debt. This act of fraud and share dilution was a thief in every American's bank account, fueling rampant inflation and contributing to the dollar losing 92% of its value relative to gold since the year 2000. He promised affordable college, yet costs nearly doubled, trapping millions of young borrowers in debt slavery to the financial institutions holding the loans. The defining event, however, was the handling of the 2008 financial crash. This was the network's ultimate financial heist. The concept of too big to fail was the implementation of total corporatism, a form of modern fascism or Nazi ideology, where the state and corporate interest are fused. The elite ideology inherent in this decision allowed the architects of the collapse to fail upwards. This was the criminal system of public losses and privatized gains. Millions of people lost everything, their homes, their jobs, their savings, and in doing so, created the vast, exploited underclass that still exists today. The crash was not an accident. It was an engineered crisis, echoing the pattern of every significant event we have tracked: the savings and loan crisis, the destabilization of Colombia and the drug war, the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and John F. Kennedy, Operation Underworld, and the Castellammarese War. Every time, these seemingly inexplicable, unrelated events involve a massive, irreversible transfer of wealth to a small circle of power. Every time, power was consolidated and freedoms were stripped. This is the Lucky Luciano Iron Grip Playbook in its most evolved, comprehensive form. The crimes detailed here are merely those committed at home. The next chapter, we will look at the scale of his crimes abroad.